Hey, I'm back. I want to talk about several things today. First thing being mom shaming. And the reason this is on my mind is because someone yesterday that I was talking to used the term um, fun mom. She said, "I'm not a fun mom," and said it like she needed to give an excuse or a reason of why she is that way, and kind of some mom shame going on, mom guilt. And here's the thing. If you are one of the families who signed up for my subscription boxes, my kids' art subscription boxes, you might be experiencing a little bit of that right now. And the reason I am saying this is because I've already had 3 or 4 moms just in the last few days message me pictures and all this fun stuff about them just now getting to the December box, okay? And there was a tiny bit of, maybe I'm reading into it, but a tiny bit of kind of like embarrassment that they hadn't done the December box during December, okay? And it's January now. I think it's the 7th or something like that. And they were like maybe a little hesitant about even telling me that they were just now doing the Party Pug, which was the painting from December. Here's what I want to tell you. First of all, I'm not a mom shamer. I have plenty of things about my life that I wish I was better at doing. In the new year, one of the things I have for myself is I want to be more intentional about teaching my kids to cook, okay? That hesitation that some of you might be experiencing about getting that box open and getting that paint out and the mess, and you might be like cringing thinking about, why did I even invest in this thing? I'm regretting it. If you are feeling that, that's how I feel about cooking. To me, it's like, oh my gosh, when my kids are in the kitchen cooking with me, it just throws me off, and I'm not the fun mom when it comes to that. Years ago, with my stepson, when he was younger, because now he's 26, and when he was younger, I really tried to be the fun mom. I baked all the time. I tried to include him in some of that. He didn't care for most of it, but some of it. And now with my girls who are 10 and 7, they don't get to experience that with me very often because I'm not the fun mom. I've tried to cut out that junk food and all this stuff. So anyway, I kind of deal with that mom shame when it comes to that in the cooking realm. And I want to be more intentional in this new year. Avery's 10 years old. She's going to be 11 soon. I want her to experience the learning that comes from actually cooking, right? With me and following my directions and just different things like that. And so I get it. I have to kind of like make myself let her, okay? So believe me, I get it. If you're experiencing that right now with these art subscription boxes and you're thinking, paint, I signed up for a thing where my kids are busting out all these paint things and these little tubes and like canvases and this water cups and cleaning brushes and potentially mess everywhere and having paint on their hands maybe and touching doorknobs and just, I get it. I'm an art teacher, so I know. Like just yesterday, I had 3 kindergartners in one class spill white glitter paint on the floor. One stepped in it and was stepping in it the whole time he was working and didn't see it. And then by the time I saw it, then I was like, oh, your mother's going to be upset with me that I had this material going on in the art room. I don't know. But I get it. I get the hesitation. Anyway, I want to say this, though. As real as that is, don't let it stop you from letting those kids do that, okay? Even if you have to kind of have some balance about it and schedule it out and say, okay, on this day every month, we're going to open up our art subscription boxes and do the painting lesson. And then on this day, a week later or something like that, we're going to do the multimedia project, which is kind of less intense in my opinion. Because yeah, it's mixed media, but it's not paint, and sometimes paint is intimidating for people. But remember, there's so much value in your kids getting to experience the healthy win of the painting project, because it is a healthy win. I try to choose designs that give them great results, okay? And then the healthy challenge, oh man, it's good for them to experience that, where they get to do that mixed media project, which of course is different every month. December was the shoe self-portrait, rich in art content, and then the January mixed media is these is this project like greenhouses or a terrarium. Kind of what I did was a terrarium. But I also want to say this. I get that you might have done that first project and be like, okay, this kind of wasn't what I was expecting. And this is what I mean by that. You're actually going to learn a lot about your kids by maybe. I think you might not learn that much about your kids. I think if you're not used to doing art with your kids and this is your first time, I think you'll learn a lot about your kids. For one thing, you might see that you have really perfectionistic kids that maybe you didn't realize before. I don't know. If so, art is a great way to teach them about learning and growing and just allowing themselves to make mistakes and just being like, brush it off. It's not a big deal. Hey, if we hate this, we let it dry and we come back tomorrow and deal with it. It's okay. It's okay, right? That's really, really good for them to experience stuff that isn't perfect at their hands, but also the results of when you work hard at something and fix mistakes and go back and make edits. That's real life. And that's good for them to experience too. It needs to be a laid back atmosphere. And if you're uptight and they're feeling that, and then it's good to read their responses if you're doing it with them, of them watching my demonstration. Because if they're looking at mine saying, oh, I can't do it like hers, then you're dealing with perfectionism, okay? And that's not good, because they need to see, it's called stretch. They need to see what it could be, right? For them to keep trying and get better at it. But it's not meant to intimidate them, okay? It's not meant to be intimidating at all. And also don't beat yourself up if you only hang their stuff up for a bit and then put it away. Then the next month is, don't feel like you got to display everything all the time. We don't need more mom shame. Another thing you might learn about your kids is they might not have the attention span that you thought they did. For instance, if your kids work on an art project and they're kind of finished in maybe less than 30 minutes, depending on their age, of course, you might realize that, oh, my kids need to kind of develop some like stamina, if you will, to be able to focus on something longer. Art is a great way to do that. Your kind of goal would be maybe a little bit every time they get it out or work on something, that they work a little bit longer than before. And eventually they can really, if you're intentional about this, they can really get an impressive attention span for their age because of art. Okay. And I really mean that. I really think it's a great way to build that up. And I speak from experience, because at school, and I've been teaching at my current district for 10 years, and I taught elsewhere before that, but, I've seen a lot of kids come through. I have 750-ish students each year. So, and the groups get older and I still have them from K to 5. But my own children, my daughters, have a longer attention span than almost all of my students, okay? And I think that's because of this, that I feel like I'm pretty good at developing this. And I've done it since they were toddlers. A little bit longer all the time. We worked on things from anything creative, puzzles and constructing things. And my kids will build Legos for hours and all that kind of stuff, and paint for hours and draw for hours, and they love it. And I think it's a really good tool to develop that attention span. Also, all right, let me move on here. Don't be surprised if you got to schedule out that time to make yourself open that box with those kids. And also, don't feel bad if you don't sit there with them. If they're not too little to read, yeah. They're not too young to read it themselves, because I know I do have the directions, and the video tutorials, and then some downloads and stuff. If they're old enough to do it themselves, don't beat yourself up that you're not doing it with them. Now, if you want to, that's awesome. I had one mom request, say, hey, can you make a bigger box with 3, with more supplies in it, so that she could do it with her 2 kids. I love that. And I did it. I created it on there, and I was going to email about it. That's now an option. So if she wants, she can cancel her subscription for the 2 kids and or 2 people, and then upgrade to the new one that has supplies for 3 people, which works for her with 2 boys that are doing the projects. But if you're not that mom, don't worry about it. Okay. Don't stress. I would like it to be independent for them. And that's a good thing. Okay. Also, there's an upgrade. If you sign up in December and you have not done the January box yet, I tried to make it as both practical and exciting as possible. So what I did this time is my demonstration videos are hyperlapse videos. So they're really, really fast. The kids get to see me start to finish, do each project in just a few minutes, okay? They don't get to hear me talking or narrating or any of that in those videos, but I have an introduction video explaining what they're seeing, okay? So the hyperlapse videos are super quick. They get the excitement of it, the intensity of it, and it gets them going. But it's also, here's the thing, it's also them spending less time watching me make art and them spending more time making their own art. That is my goal. I don't want to be the hero here. I want them to experience the joy of making their own art and all of the learning things along with it, making those mistakes, fixing the mistakes, reflecting. You might be somebody who sets the timer for an hour and says, we're doing this for an hour and that's all mommy can handle, or that's all we have time for, or whatever, and that's okay. And then the next day or a couple days later, you come back and look at it. That's a great opportunity to reflect and say, hey, what do we not like about this finished painting? Do we need to come back with, and you'll see, I talk about this, with a Sharpie and crisp up some edges, right? Along the eyes of the pug or whatever. No shame in that, guys. We're not trying to get into, we want to experience fun art. We want to experience all the joys of creativity, healthy win, healthy challenge. That is the goal of these boxes, okay? No mom shaming going on. That is not my goal. And feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have a question. I had 2 different kids also, or maybe it was moms that told me that they were in the process of moving. So they haven't even done the December box. They just told me this a couple days ago. And they're like hesitant about it. I'm like, listen, you've moved. You have a new house. You're unpacking stuff. Like, believe me, I get it that that's going to be the last thing on your mind. But maybe consider setting up a spot for your kids to get working on that. And you have time then because they're occupied for a few hours doing a painting while you get some other stuff done. Just saying, it might be an option. One last thing and then I'm going to shut up. Another thing the whole mom shame, it's a real thing, okay? This one mom was asking me a question about logging in, okay? Well, several have, but this one particular mom just a few days ago. And she said, hey, we're just now getting around to it. You know, like I said before, I need some help with this. And I told her about it. I said, hey, make sure you send me pictures. I'd love to see your kids' pugs. And she went, and maybe I'm reading into it, but she went, well, my kids march to the beat of their own drum, so theirs will not look like the example. It almost like afraid to tell me that. Listen, I am an art teacher. I want them to think creatively and go outside the box if they choose to. The parameters that I've put in place, if you want to call them that, the guidelines, are for them to be helpful. If they're ready to branch out, let them branch out. I love that, okay? My 7-year-old daughter marches to the beat of her own drum. Her pug had lipstick and eyelashes and all kinds of crazy stuff, and it was fun. And you can't let that be something that upsets you, that it's not, if your kid is not following the directions the way that I put them, okay? Seriously, let's not put unnecessary stress on ourselves. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to put the link to the boxes in this video just in case you're watching and you're like, hey, that sounds like a cool thing. I want that for my kids. But the rest of you that already signed up, enjoy them. Do not put unnecessary stress on yourself, all right? Talk to you soon. Have a great day.